Today I'm going to go over the short documentary that was released by Bloomberg about Tulum. What I'm going to do today is take the bullet points on the documentary and give you my response. Tulum's real estate boom and bust. Pandemic era development surge. Tulum experienced a rapid influx of real estate development during the COVID-19 pandemic, attracting investors worldwide seeking vacation homes and investment properties. Yes, exactly that. Tulum did boom, COVID-19. Tulum's lax laws on COVID compared to other places in the world, and that very minimal lockdown did attract people from all over the world. People at that time were very insecure of what was happening with the world, and finding a place that didn't have the strong regulation and the propaganda and the fear that was used around the pandemic became a bit of a sanctuary for a lot of people. And for me, this was a wonderful thing. But obviously now, on the post that, there's obviously going to be a bit of backlash. Unregulated growth is the next thing that I want to talk about. Yes, the swift expansion occurred in the with minimal oversight, as they talk about in the documentary. It was a fast expansion for the obvious reasons. You know, there was no holding back. Those reasons were the amount of people that arrived. Unregulated, there is incredible rules in Tulum. Unfortunately, the one thing that does get unregulated is the corruption side of things, where people can actually, developers, actually pay to break the rules, essentially. So this is something that I know governments and this new government's really working hard on to kind of get rid of that problem. So yeah, it is a problem, the unregulated growth. There is people in Tulum trying to do the right thing and trying to zone projects correctly. Number 2, financial irregularities and investor deception. Misappropriation of funds. Developers collected substantial funds from investors but failed to complete the project, with millions of dollars unaccounted for. False promises. Buyers were enticed with assurances of luxury amenities and high returns, only to find incomplete structures or projects that never commenced. Okay, this is a very, very interesting subject. And there's 2 ways to look at this. First of all, I feel very sympathetic to the people that did lose their money. I feel sad that this sort of thing does happen in Tulum, although it does happen all over the world. Every country has its criminals, essentially. So it does happen everywhere. Keep that in mind. One thing that I always have to question at this point, there is 2 questions that should be asked when purchasing a property. 1, do you own the land? Number 2, where's your funding coming from? How are you funding this project? My advice to anyone now, if the project is funded through pre-sale, don't do it. Don't do it, because the market is too unstable. What basically happened is developers got excited, people were coming in their millions and investing because they had nowhere else to invest in the world. And developers didn't need to look for bridge loans, construction loans. They were using the money that they obtained through sale, and it was an ongoing model. It was rolling, and then suddenly, overnight, somebody turned off the tap. Number 3, legal and criminal consequences. Authorities have initiated investigations into fraudulent activities, leading to arrests and legal actions against certain developers. Rightly so. If you're doing something illegal, good. They should be put to the test and tried, and these people should be called out. If they're doing something entirely illegal, let's call them out. Violence and intimidation. Now, I've not heard about this. Okay, the violence and intimidation part, I do find a lot of it a little hard to believe. A developer would intimidate anyone. Developers disappearing, why? That's another thing, because they got themselves into financial trouble. But violence and intimidation is something that I've not heard of. Now, fatalities linked to the disputes is something, again, I've not heard of until the Bloomberg documentary actually speaks about this. Like all countries, there's always violence, there's always crime. Now, when it comes to violent crime in Tulum in particular, yes, we do have some issues. Yes, we do hear about some issues. However, we are at a point where I like to actually look and see, okay, what shootings are in New York today? What shootings are in Chicago today? And actually run a comparison back with numbers, and then size to size, we're actually not that bad of a place. I bring my daughter up here, and I've got a son on the way, and I feel safer here than I do walking around London, than I do walking around New York, when I do walking around even Mexico City, obviously. So to me, Tulum got a bit of a bad rap there because of some things that have happened, and they do happen, but they happen everywhere in the world. Number 4, environmental and cultural impacts. Ecological damage. The unchecked construction has led to deforestation and harm of Tulum's delicate ecosystems, including its renowned cenotes and wildlife habitats. Cultural displacement. The development frenzy has also impacted local communities, leading to concerns about cultural erosion and displacement of long-standing residents. Yes, 100%. This is one of the biggest problems. Reality is, it's the foreign investor buying these projects that are destroying these places and not actually learning to design and build so they can cohabitate with nature and what people are essentially coming here for. So the reality is, we're in a position now where the foreign investor buys these products because they're cheap, because Tulum was booming, and they're not looking at the ecological impact, and their mindset is very short term, because the reason people actually come to these areas is because of the cenotes, because of the jungle, because of the beautiful beaches. But it's such short term thinking if they're just trying to invest for money, because eventually those places, if they're investing in these cheaper developments that aren't caring about their ecological footprint, if you like, then they're just damaging their longevity of their investment. So it's the dumbest thing. The culture of displacement in Tulum, okay, this is something that we should all really be conscious of. It's a huge problem. We have a great community, great culture. The Mayan culture is one of the most fascinating and incredible cultures across the planet. And yes, it is being displaced here. Yes, the divide is getting bigger. There are many, many groups trying to close this divide down, but it's something that really needs to be worked on from the government, from the very top. When you, like any place in the world, when you get a lot of tourists coming into an area and a lot of money coming to an area, it is pushing out the locals. It's gentrification at its finest. So it's something that I urge everyone to really, really be conscious of when they visit Tulum. Number 5, investor fallout. Financial losses. Many investors have suffered significant financial losses with little recourse to recover their investments. Legal battles. Ongoing legal disputes are unfolding as affected parties seek justice and compensation for their losses. Okay, so this is a really important subject. There's 700 developments plus in Tulum, and only in the 20s is it projects that are actually failing. So on a ratio, it's actually not a bad ratio for the amount that's been developed in such a short period of time. We also talk about the infrastructure in Tulum. You imagine, when I arrived here 10 years ago, there was 10,000 people. Now we have 65,000 people as residents, million plus visit every year, and then we're expected to be 300,000 residents by 2030. So the infrastructure will catch up. They are putting a lot of money into it, and the percentage of projects that don't get finished or have legal battles is actually very low in comparative to other cities. The main problem, in my opinion, has been tourism dropped. Post-COVID, there's been a big slump in tourism, so all the promises which were being achieved at the time for return of investment on these properties is now not being achieved because of oversaturation of the market and not enough tourists visiting. So if you have purchased a property and you purchased it to make a good return of investment, encourage people to come back to Tulum. Simple as that. Rather than bad-mouthing Tulum and saying how bad it is, start encouraging people to come back. Then your property will do well. The building is slowed down here. Construction is slowed down. So we're going to go soon enough into an upturn again, because there won't be enough properties for the amount of people coming, just naturally because building is slowed down. So I see that as the biggest problem that investors are facing, rather than the projects that aren't being built. If you found this video useful, give me a thumbs up, give me any comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.